Okay, my name is Joe Gerstein. I'm a physician specialized in internal medicine and pain management, and never intended to get involved in any kind of addiction recovery or addiction treatment program. However, in my practice, I had a number of patients who had problems with addictions and simply didn't seem to profit from a 12-step program, which was universally available. I really had nothing to offer them. I tried to force them and twist their arm to go back to 12 steps, and some of them did for a while, but it just didn't seem right for them, didn't resonate with them, and didn't seem to do anything for them. And they were kind of orbiting around, getting into trouble. I heard about Smart Recovery, and I said, well, look, I'm going to try to introduce this into the Boston area because I think it's a very useful option and alternative to the 12-step methods. I also didn't know anything about cognitive behavioral psychology or REBT. I think my training in addiction was limited to one 2-hour lecture in medical school in the 50s. And that was so benighted that at that time they didn't think that cocaine was addicting. Anyway, I finally brought the program to Boston. I found somebody to facilitate a group, and the group got started. But after about 6 weeks, they began arguing with the facilitator, and I had to get involved or see the whole project go down the drain. I started facilitating meetings. I really didn't know what I was doing, but I read the book and went on with it. And after a few weeks, I began to catch the idea of cognitive behavioral psychology. And after about 6 weeks, I got a call from Shrewsbury, about 40 miles west of Boston, wanted to start a meeting. About 6 weeks later, I got a call from someone in a room in the basement of the Falmouth Synagogue, wanted to start a meeting. And that's how it all began. And I've now done well over 3,000 meetings. My wife got involved. She said, I'll never see you if I don't get involved. She's done over 1,000 meetings. At any rate, in Massachusetts, we have had tremendous success. It's been a battle, but we've had 28,000 meetings now in Massachusetts of Smart Recovery. We have it in 16 hospitals in Massachusetts, and there's 29 meetings in those 16 hospitals. We've spread it all over the world. My wife's Australian. We went to Australia. We gave a few talks there. Took quite a while to incubate, but now there are over 170 meetings every week in Australia of Smart Recovery. I'm on the board of Smart Recovery Australia, which is wonderful. I enjoy the meetings, but I have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to attend them via Skype, although I've done it in person twice. We got a call from a corrections officer at the Inverness prison about 12 years ago, maybe 15, it's getting a little hazy. And Barbara has a Scottish background, her maiden name was Simpson, and we went over to Scotland. We had a few meetings in Inverness prison, then we did an all-day training. Again, the incubation period was slow, but eventually it spread from Scotland to the UK and to prisons all over the world, and we now have, I guess, almost 700 meetings a week in the UK. We also introduced it to South Africa. And we now have 22 countries represented on 6 continents. So it's come a long way. We now have a couple of excellent studies, very valid scientific studies on the program. For 25 years, we said it was a science-based program, but now we can say it's an evidence-based program because we have evidence that the program itself, which is an amalgamation of multiple different aspects of scientific literature which have demonstrated efficacy in helping people get out of addictions. So we've consolidated that into a 4-point program. It's a comprehensive program, and it's burgeoning, and burgeoning all over the world. We're now training about 200 new facilitators every month in the US and Canada alone. Australia and the UK have their own training programs because of the time differential. In the US and Canada, it's a interactive training program. So we don't want people to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning in Australia to do the program. What have I seen? Well, I've seen some incredible results. I've seen in meetings a man who had 52 detoxes, then got introduced to the Smart Recovery Program and stopped. I don't think it can hit bottom any lower than that. We get a printout every month of people who are taking the Smart Recovery training, and there's a box for them to fill in why they're doing it. There's always 2 or 3 people who say, Smart saved my life. And there's usually 6 or 8 people who say, Smart changed my life. Well, that's what it's all about. It's been a bit of an inconvenience to do over 3,000 meetings, but the reward is really superb, and we know that it's helping thousands of people. We know thousands of people who get better using the online techniques without even going to a face-to-face meeting. They might live in Montana or Wyoming, and they attend, they use the chat rooms and the message boards, and then they go to the online meetings. And we now even have a study, a good scientific study, showing that the people who used online meetings did just as well as the people who had face-to-face meetings. And that's something that everybody knows now from all the excitement about social media. So it's a comprehensive program. It seems to have been very successful. We seem to be universally accepted now, been certified as evidence-based by the National Institute of Healthcare Excellence in the UK, by the Similar Commission in Australia. It's recognized by a multitude of different US government organizations. At our conference in Washington a couple of years ago, the drug czar Michael Botticelli gave the keynote address. So we finally made it. We're struggling always because we're struggling to expand now. We're struggling to handle the number of requests and demands that are on us to supply the program, which is different than the early days when we were struggling to get the program accepted. So it's been quite a journey. I'm 80 years old now, still at it, and 30 years have been very well invested and hopefully saved a lot of lives.